Hello, everyone. Hopefully this is working. I just want to say first off that I do have dual monitors. My camera is forward facing. You will see me look off to the right. And that is where my YouTube screen is, where I will be watching for your questions. Please let me know if you can hear me okay in the comments below. It's always great to be able to do the mic check live. And if you have not been here before, my name is Ellie Mae with Silhouette Secrets Plus. I have been teaching Silhouette users since 2016. This was my third year to attend the Silhouette Summit. This year it was in Hawaii again. And it is an invitation only, which is the Silhouette's business meeting globally. So it is their business meeting where the last couple of years they have invited more influencers and educators in for the conference, and it is where they typically announce the new products that are coming out. Not all of them. When I attended in 2019, they were very adamant that not all of the products will be released in the next year. Sometimes we see prototypes. Now, nothing was really listed as a prototype this year, but I do want to make that disclaimer right now. There are no actual definite dates of when the products that I'm going to talk about are going to be available. That can be for many reasons. A lot of it is shipping and manufacturing delays. So they don't really give a date anymore. It upsets too many users when they don't meet that date, and there's a lot of factors into it. So I'm just going to check out here. We have people joining us from all over the world. That is fabulous. I wanted to get on, and I'm exhausted. I'll just say that right off the bat. It was a long week, and very much go, go, go the first 2 days. You can choose to do this or not. And what I have chosen to do is the first day is pretty much packed with the conference. So we go into at 9 a.m. Hawaii time. We go into a room where they do their big production and their announcements, and they give us the unveiling of the different products and what they're presenting. That lasted this year about an hour and a half. And then we went into the demo room, the live demo room. This year they did something a little bit different. They actually had demos that we could tell them, or we could present with them what we wanted them to do, and we were able to take those. So it was kind of like a make and take. Certain products you don't want a beginner or a non-Silhouette user to be doing. So it wasn't really, not everyone was hands-on. But I also just pushed out a video on YouTube. I'm just playing catch up with a lot of things. Today was my kind of down day. I managed to get unpacked and clean a toilet. So that was and then I spent the last 2 hours preparing for this live. So I wanted to give you the perspective from someone who was at the conference, who asked the questions that are from a user's perspective. Mine is from, I am a power user. I do use this every day. I wear shirts that I make. All the products not all of them, most of the products you see behind me in my videos are all things I've created. And I'm an educator, so I teach people how to use their silhouettes as well. And then I'm also a troubleshooter. And so we troubleshoot a lot of issues. So that is where my questions, when I ask them to directly to Silhouette, which is great to be able to do in person at Summit. So let's see here. No worries. This will be on replay if you are not able to catch it. I know it doesn't work for everyone. It will be on my YouTube channel as a replay for as long as possible. I am going to kind of structure this, hopefully. I want you to be able to ask your questions. So I'm going to structure it in a way that hopefully I can go back and add little chapters in. So if someone is watching it after the live, they'll be able to just click on a specific chapter in the description and jump to that point. So that's what I'm going to try and do. So we'll go through each section, have a Q&A on those sections. And then at the very end, if you still have additional questions, we can open it up for a Q&A too. I am here as long as you have questions and are participating. I want to share with you the information that I remember, and I wanted to do it soon after Summit before it all flies away. I will have additional information out on the Silhouette Secrets blog, as well as additional videos coming out too. I did not get everything posted because we were really on the go a lot. So I did all my video editing right from my phone because I couldn't get my computer to work the way I wanted to. And the internet was not my friend at the hotel. So it was really slow and I was just cussing it. So let's see. Hi, Teresa. Teresa P is my admin. If you are in the Facebook groups, Teresa P, Sarah Clark, if she's on here, Sarah was my traveling companion. Teresa is my admin, is fabulous, makes amazing projects, not products, she does not sell, projects, and just inspires me daily. I have been so grateful to be able to find the admins that I have. We are all what I would consider experts, even though none of us call ourselves experts, because we all agree that there is always something new to learn. And that's why we're here today, is we're going to learn some new things. So are there any questions? I'll take them really briefly right before we get started. I know that, excuse me, I'll choke on water. I choke on air. So let's see. Okay, I know there's a delay between all of the YouTube and everything like that. So I will have the opportunity and give you guys the opportunity to ask questions. And that's what this whole purpose of this live is for. If you are watching the replay, you can also make those comments below after the event is done, and I will come back and answer those questions as I see them and give as much information as I can, or link you to the right place to get more information. So as always, let's get this all out of the way. Make sure to like, subscribe, click that bell for notifications, give me a thumbs up in there. That helps for YouTube and the algorithms. This is all stuff like I'm doing all of the YouTube channel is for free. Yes, it is monetized. However, that is a few pennies coming in. So always appreciate the likes, comments, shares, subscribers as well as I grow the channel. So Cameo 5, we'll just cover that right off the bat. Okay, Cameo 5 roller issue. Yes, the Cameo 5 roller issue was identified. It was identified as a specific manufacturing defect. They know about it, but it did not affect all Cameo 5s. So it was not something that they would recall all Cameo 5 model machines for. We are seeing less and less of those. However, there are still some Cameo 5s, and this is worldwide. I'm seeing it more internationally than I am in the US because we had quite a few, but right at the very beginning of the Cameo 5 release, that were identified right away. So the Cameo 5 in that specific lot that was manufactured has a roller defect on it. If it's going to break, it's going to break. You can't do anything about it. All you can do, if you are in the US, you need to contact Silhouette Support. They will provide you with instructions. The faster you can respond to them with following them all of the instructions. If you argue, it's going to take longer. Follow all the instructions. They will get you a replacement out. If you are outside the US, warranty replacement is typically handled by the retailer. It is different in every single country, but you can reach out to Silhouette Support for instructions. But if you're outside the US, typically your retailer handles that. In order for both cases to speed up the process, you need to be very descriptive in what the issue is. So whoever is reading that email on the other end can understand what your problem is, provide photos, and if necessary, provide a video. Now that is for any reason that you would submit to Silhouette Support. That is going to speed up your support case faster because then they don't have to come back and forth with the different information. If they ask you for more information, provide it as fast as possible. Fill out any forms that they ask you to provide as soon as possible. There are specific things that they have to do in order to provide a replacement for you. It should be fairly quick. However, support, which we will cover the elephant in the room here in just a second. Silhouette Support is very backlogged, and that is because of the website issues, which I will get into here. So yes, Silhouette Studio 5. Anything on the new embossing tools for the Cameo 5 being worked out? It is on the list. Unfortunately, I presented that case to him right at the very beginning with the Cameo 5 and it not lining up. Many things have happened since that time. The website issue has been put at the top priority, as well as some of the things that we're going to see here later. So it is on the list, and I will again bump that as soon as we get off this live. I have been bumping some. I'm trying to give some of them a little bit of time to get back from Summit. If they are probably more exhausted than I am, because they actually had to work. They had a boss there that was making them work. I am just doing this on my own, so it's a little bit more relaxed, except I push myself. So let's see. Overall, how would you rank the summit? Were you glad compared to previous summits? Actually, yes. I'm always excited, and I am grateful that I received an invitation. As I said, it is my third year to attend the Silhouette Summit, and it is by invitation only. So every year I cross my fingers, and I hope that, I'll be on that list. It is a chance. There are three main reasons that I love to attend Summit. The first one is collaboration and community. I love being able to meet new collaborators, new people, and connect with the people I already know. And we talk business a lot at these events. So it's not just about seeing the new products initially. The number two reason is I get to ask very specific questions, and my questions sometimes stump some of the people that I'm asking. So my questions come from a user and troubleshooter standpoint. I asked questions about specific parts of machines and why they do what they do. Is there a purpose for why they function that way? I also provided some feedback to direct to the product developers on some things that I have seen with the machines it's rare, but we're encountering and seeing why they're letting them know why it's happening, or if there's something that we can do in the future to make that better. So my perspective is a little bit different than others that attend. And then, of course, it is exciting to hear about the new products, some of it I had been aware of from past summits and from different things that I had been in on. But there was a few surprises, and I'm really, really excited about those surprises, because you'll see here in a bit, the tools are for the Curio 2. They are tools that we asked for last year that have been in production. I will state, so Silhouette Summit is their annual business summit. It is planned more than a year in advance. Hotel reservations, bookings for the event, everything, contracts are signed a year or more in advance. So it is something that is very much produced, thought of before the event even happens. Production on products is also usually 3 to 5 years out, depending on it. If it was so easy, I wish it was so easy to just snap our fingers and things would be produced, or new tools or new things like that. So there is always a time frame that is involved in this. So, I know there have been a lot of issues. Believe me, I know I've been fielding all the questions for months. And it's exhausting to field those questions. But I also understand that each person has their own job. And you don't want your mechanic cutting your hair. So there is only so much that a marketing person can do on a website coding issue, which is nothing. You don't want them to get into coding. Nobody wants me to get into coding I have very limited IT skills. So, there are very specific people who are on the list for fixing problems. And that can range from software to hardware to the website, which is what we'll cover next. So any other questions before we get started? I don't really have a scale of, I would say all of them are a 10. Every one of them is different. And it's always exciting to see the new products. I am excited. I will say it right now. I am very glad that they did not launch things at Summit. Last year, it was a mess. It was a wreck. And I made that very clear to several people that I talked to. It was very difficult to teach or troubleshoot or help people when the users received machines before any of the influencers or the educators who actually create content with it and use it. So last year there was 3 to 4 weeks where the machines were going out to users before I had even received mine, and mine was ordered when I was at Summit. So there's always things that you learn from. So Okay, so let's go ahead and we will address the elephant in the room. Um, and anyone who is here for just the website issues, then after that, if you don't want to listen to my little information speech, you can feel free to leave. But the website issues, the people who are in charge or who have to fix the website issues, the website management company that they migrated to, were not at Silhouette Summit. There was no one there who could field questions, who could fix things on the spot. They are a separate company. There is a list, and I have provided the week before Summit, I listed 10 different things. I started with 2. And it grew to, I just kept adding to it. So I can give feedback through the beta group and through my contacts to specific people where the issues might present. Like I said, the issues for software, for hardware, they can all be separate departments and different people. So I can provide that feedback, and I have, believe me, they know my name in, I would say, all departments. They know my name very well. That was very evident when I would walk up to say somebody and I would say, I have a few questions for you. And you could just tell the look on their face. I will say that there were questions. It was brought up many times about the website issues, and they are working on it. And what I will say is that every single person who was asked that question, you could see it on their face. It affects them. Pain is the only way I can describe the looks on their faces. It was not something they could hide. They couldn't turn that off. It is very evident in all things. I will say that the software and the machines are completely separate from this website issue. What is affected is the Silhouette library and the files syncing into the library, and then any, of course, account issues on the websites. So there are many factors within this. And I just want to check these comments here. Okay. And let me see where I lost my train of thought checking those comments. They are very aware. I will also be putting out another post because, again, they know my name, of the still remaining issues. I did talk to the people, their software teams trying to help this website. They're trying to get it figured out, trying to work together in the video description below here. I have it linked. It is the same information from the end of August that I put out about what to do if you do have library issues. At this point, with the release of the 4.5.812, some people don't have any issues now. Other people do. And some of them have flip-flopped. So it is something very specific. The servers or the information data out there. I'm sorry, I talk with my hands a lot. I can see myself in the video. The information out there is just not connecting and talking to the Silhouette software on your computer correctly. And that could be, just something is not crossed right, or something is not, it's crossed. It's not connecting right. At this point, if you follow those instructions that I have provided in that link in the description below, and you're still having issues, then it is a case where they need to look at your account individually. And I will state, up until probably a week before Summit, they had access to my account. They were looking at it. They were trying to figure out why. I have 15,000 files in my Silhouette library. And until a week before Summit, my library was not syncing properly. It would randomly sync. But new files really weren't syncing in. And then all of a sudden, one day, poof, it appeared. Even though there's still some orders missing. So I'm experiencing issues. Teresa experiences issues. We chat daily, and it's like, wow, today it's working. I wonder what tomorrow holds. So it's a new adventure every day. I know it is frustrating. I understand it. Believe me, because I have my group, my admins, myself, we have fielded thousands and thousands of questions. So that is the majority of that. If you do have questions, you can put those in the comments. I'm not much more what I can say about it. It is being worked on. It is a pain point, but I also understand that Summit is planned a year in advance or longer. And the production of the equipment that's coming out is also something that's been planned for years in advance. It's not something that they just cancel. They did not expect this. I can say that right up front. No one wanted this to happen. It was not something they expected to happen and have go on this long. So I can just cross my fingers and I can try to continue to help users to be able to get their libraries back. So let's see. I'm going to take a drink here. So now that we have covered the elephant, the first thing that I want to go over is the software. So I'm going to go out to the Silhouette website. I'm going to try to share my screen here and make sure I do this right. Let's see. Window. Okay. Okay, let me see here if you can see my screen. So what you're going to see on the screen is the current Silhouette America website. If Teresa, can you let me know if you can see that okay? That would be great. This is the current new website. While we were at Summit, it actually was updated and they have added additional servers. They told us that at Summit, that they added additional servers to hopefully help with the workload and make things faster. So from my understanding, they have a separate server for the Silhouette America website, or this is what they're working towards if it's not in place right now. Silhouette America website is separate from the Silhouette Design Store. And then there's a third one, and I can't remember exactly what it was for, but I think it was for what I'm going to cover here in just a second. So, and Sarah Clark has just joined us. Sarah was along with me. Actually, she received her invitation too. So we just room together. We travel a lot together to different events. And she is now on the chat as well. So here is your Silhouette website. If you come over here to the blog tab, I'll just click on it. There is now a new blog post out here that is Silhouette's new product lineup. So it's going to list several things that I'm going to cover. I'm not going to regurgitate all of this information. This is information that you can view yourself and read that as well. I don't want to just read it to you. So I'm going to give you a perspective from my view at Summit, where to find this information. And then also, let's see, back up to, there's also a press release here at the top. Now, one thing I've noticed is that this little search bar seems to be present all the way out here to this press release. Again, it's another thing that the website needs to be updated on. But if you click on the left side of this press release, you can go to the press release from Silhouette Summit. So here is some more detailed information on different things. Now I'm actually going to move those to a different screen in case you guys do have questions. I can refer to those because I cannot remember everything. I do have, I do have all of my notes here. I am a note taker. So I have pages and pages of notes that I have from the summit, and that's where I'm going to be pulling my information from. So the first thing I want to talk about is the new Silhouette web. So if you come up here to software, and I'm not going to go into details because that would make the live a couple hours long. This one is going to be just an overview, and then I will come back and do some more videos on things. If you come down here to web and click on this little arrow, the Silhouette web launched while we were at Summit into beta. And I announced this on my page right away. This is the first time I am able to click on it. I was able to click on it on my phone. Here, I'll just bring that up if I can do it real quick. So you agree it is a beta version. I'll bring this up on my phone because I want to make a point about it. I did access this while I was at Summit, right when we were in the classes. And okay, this is my screen. So here is my hand. It's the size of my hand. First off, when I open it, it tells me on my mobile device that we have detected your window size is below the minimum recommended width. You may experience issues at this size. For best experience, Silhouette Web requires a device with 570 pixels or higher. So if I click OK, if I turn it, it will show up. So if I scroll up, I can see it. I cannot design on this. Okay. Maybe you can. Maybe great. If you can, that is great. But these little fingers that do all the typing when I'm answering questions are not going to be able to design very well. And my eyes are getting worse. So I am not going to try to squint on my phone. So while it says that it is compatible, it is web-based. You need an internet connection. That's one thing that I haven't heard anyone else say is you need an internet connection because it's called Silhouette Web. So it is web-based. This is great. And I think one of the main reasons they did this was one, users were asking for a web-based program. Chromebook users especially, so they want something that is compatible with Chromebook. And as far as I know, Silhouette is the first one to do this. You also have to understand it is a Google Chromebook. It is going to be Google-based, Google Chrome-based. But Chromebooks are not full computers. So the Silhouette Studio full software cannot be installed on those. So I have to allow the cookies here. And then you see the Silhouette Web. So Silhouette Web can be accessed anywhere you have an internet connection. You do not have to, let's see, that thought flew away. Internet connection. You need an internet connection. So it can be used on a computer, which is what you're seeing on the screen here. It can be accessed on so I have a Surface. This is what I traveled with. This is why things didn't work so well. It was a new Surface. It's a Surface, but it's also a tablet. So like I can take it's kind of a tablet. It's both. It's a tablet computer, but iPads. Now you can use this on an iPad. You can use it on an Android. It is web-based. So you can access it on the go. You can do limited designs. The function of it is for basic Silhouette Studio functions. So everything that is in Silhouette Studio, not everything, I'm sorry, please don't take that. The things that you see on screen in the Silhouette Web are basic features. So all of your extras, like your flexi shapes or your rhinestones, they may not be in the Silhouette Web base ever. It's a basic design portion because the Silhouette Go mobile app is not a full functioning design program. And there are many reasons for that. So here is a look at the first page. And I will go through a couple of things here. You have some information on the right-hand side. You have your design and your send. I'm not going to do a full tutorial, but what is really neat, so the idea behind this and something else with the version 5 software that I'll talk about here in a minute is it's now a lot more beginner friendly, which I know the experts or experienced people are just going to tune that out. But this is great. This is great for somebody who is starting. This is great for somebody who is coming over, say, from Cricut. There are now tutorials in here. So it's going to walk you through step by step. And when I say step by step, we watched it. It tells you every single step that you need to do. It sets it up with the correct blade for the project, all that kind of, steps. So it is really great. You don't have to use it if you don't want to, but it is an option. So you have different projects starting on the left. Are more beginner projects. And then you can get into some more advanced projects over here, such as this coin case. And I kind of laugh because these are some projects that I haven't even attempted yet. I got started with them. I found a bug in the software with the leather punch tool, and I never got back to it because it does take time. So you have these things in the software, but it's going to walk you through step by step. So they are giving you the exact instructions if the user is willing to read those and follow them. So I think it's great. I also think it's great that they're coming out with this more beginner-friendly style. I'll be using it just to see, what it is. Sometimes it's just nice not to have to think about it and just to follow the instructions and click the button. That's just how it is. So you can scroll down here on the page. Let's see, my scroll window has disappeared. I'm not sure where it went. Okay, that's the scroll for that. Let's see. I'm having to use my arrow keys because my computer's not showing it. You can sign into your account. I'm not going to mess with that right now because I've got way too much to cover and share with you. You do have a section for design store files. So it's going to give you a selection of files that they think is based on your previous history or things that you might like. That's pretty cool because there's oftentimes I will buy a file such as this tropical bird right here if I don't already own it. So I will be playing more with that. Again, like I said, this is my first, I'm just clicking on it on my computer because I haven't had a chance. I've been on the go the entire time. So let's see. We'll take any questions that you have on the Silhouette web. What I will say is get in there, click the buttons, just play with it. If you have projects that are due or orders that are due, I do not recommend it. I never recommend just playing, using something brand new that you have a deadline for. So get in there. It is public beta. You can also, if you do encounter issues, please let me know on the Silhouette Secrets Facebook page. Myself, Teresa, or Sarah, we're all beta testers, so we can report those issues. They are planning and hoping that this will be released publicly, not as a beta, by Christmas. So that is kind of the timeline. So I'm going to go ahead and answer those questions. Renee, I will cover the heat press here in just a second. Can you use the Apple Pencil with the Silhouette web? I am going to say, you know what? Let's just try this out. Okay, this is my Surface. It's not my iPad. My iPad's upstairs, but you don't want to wait around for me to go there. So while I'm doing that, I will just pull in this. I'm going to say yes, I'm not sure that you'd be able to draw, but you'd be able to select. But I'm going to test it out on my Surface live for you, and we'll see what happens. So I'm just getting it keyed up, powered up. So while that's working, I'll go ahead and yes, Sarah Clark says the projects get more difficult as you scroll to the right in the carousel. So like this leather keychain here, leather earrings, the coin purse, and embossing sticker, those are going to be your more advanced projects. That doesn't mean you can't do them. It just, when you go into it with the understanding that it is more advanced. So you're going to see me look down here just as I try to get my Surface up and going and on this site. Let me see. Question. Okay, so Vanessa says, okay, so I have my Silhouette Studio offline. Will this make me take that back offline? Hope that makes sense. Vanessa, no. So we now have 3 different options. You have Silhouette Studio, and I will cover the new updates for that here in just a second. Silhouette Studio, that is a full-blown software that is loaded on your computer. So this is where your upgrades, if you have software upgrades, this is where your full design capabilities are going to be found, is on your computer in Silhouette Studio. That was my number one question when I heard the announcements. I went in there, not straight to them because I know they were busy, but that was the first question I asked is, are we still going to have this offline part? Because that I wouldn't update it if I didn't, to be honest. So yes, they are continuing with Silhouette Studio offline, completely offline. You can use it offline on your computer. You do not need an internet connection. The second option now is going to be Silhouette Web, which is web-based. And your third option is Silhouette Go. So if I come back here to Silhouette America, you have Silhouette Go. It is the mobile app for Silhouette cutting machines. So this is my computer. It's not going to give me the options to download that. So here I'm going to click on and I will share this in just a second, my Silhouette web on my Surface and get through the screens. Okay. Teresa says, yes, Teresa has been testing it since the first night. She's also already found a thing that we worked through. Yes, Apple Pencil can be used when using the iPad. Is there a minimum machine that is compatible with the new Silhouette web? As far as I know, no. if your computer can access the internet, it would be dependent on your computer and how many windows you can have open on your web browser. So, Google Chrome is, in my experience, it is data heavy, but I'm accessing this on Edge as well. I just know I saw somebody post about, here, this will answer it. So I am currently in Edge. It'll be hard to see, but I'm in Edge on my thing, and it does give me a thing that says this version of Silhouette Web may not be compatible with this browser. To ensure your success, click on Google Chrome. It is Chrome based. And that is because the main reason, I believe, is because it was made to be compatible and usable for people who had Chromebooks. There are some issues. It says use anyway, so it's going to allow me to do that. I do have Google Chrome, but let's just see. I'm going to go to blank document and choose my, again, not a full, just going through, clicking the buttons. Yep. So my pencil on my surface, like Teresa just said, okay, sketch here. Let's just try a sketch. It won't let me draw tool. Let's see. First, doesn't look like I have a drawing tool off the bat. Let's just draw a circle. Oh, it put the circle on. So it put the circle on. If I click on it, I get so my pencil does work. I can do that. So there shouldn't be any difference with iPad. I would just, for your best results, I would say go with Google Chrome when you are accessing it, because now I did see somebody had a post. They hated Google Chrome. I understand. However, there are reasons behind that, not just for the Chromebook part of it, but also that just flew away too. There are several reasons. I do want to state here before I go too far on the Silhouette Web. This is one of those things that comes into play with different browsers not being able to function properly with the web or things like that. When you have an iPad, or if you're using it on your iPhone, if you can see that, with Apple products, you can design in the Silhouette Web. Let's just click back here on on my screen, I see the blank document. Oh, then I got to go through all the things. Okay, I'm just making selections, everything they chose for me. So here is on my computer. If you're on a smaller device, it may be more condensed and you may see it a little bit different. Apple users, this is something with Apple. This is something that Silhouette has no control over. You can design in this program. If you try to cut from this program, you will be prompted to send that through the Silhouette Go app for cutting. Everything will be set up in the web, but you have to cut through the Silhouette Go. Silhouette Go is Apple certified. Apple will not let any device send from a web browser to a hardware. So it will not allow any website to send information to the machines. That's the hardware. It is a security thing with Apple, or they say security. It could be security. It could be control. I don't know which. I'm not an Apple guru, but that is the one thing. Is it going to make people mad? I'm sure it will. I'm sure somebody will have a complaint about it. There is absolutely zero that Silhouette can do about it. They found a workaround to be able to use the Silhouette Go app in conjunction. Or you can save it from Silhouette Web on any device. You can save to the device, and then you could send it to your computer by email or use a cloud like Dropbox or OneDrive, Google Drive, to then get that file to your computer, and you could send it through Silhouette Studio. So you have options, but I do want to make that very clear up front. It was a question. It was very, very clear the way they described it, but you do have to go through with Apple users through the Silhouette Go. Android users, no problems. Android's not near as restrictive. So that's just, it gives you an idea of some of the things that they encounter when they're developing these software and hardware things along the way. So let's see. Okay, Sarah Clark says hers on her Surface, I believe. Are you on your Surface or your iPad? Okay. Oh, she must be on her iPad. So she says her Apple Pencil is not working with hers. So again, it's still in beta, I would say. I will try on my iPad. I can put that in the comments. I know there's going to be a lot of comments here. Peggy says she just tried it and it will let me do drawings and use the type on the keyboard, but all Apples need a finger press. Oh, Sarah got it working. It was her pencil. So that was a picnic problem? Okay, that's for Sarah. Woo, sorry. I just pulled the handle off my cup. We are live, so whatever can happen. And I am tired. So again, you can see I did not do the full makeup thing for the video today. If you're following me for makeup tutorials, you are in the wrong place because I am not a makeup tutorial person. How does Silhouette Web communicate with the Silhouette cutting machine? Yes, Crafty WC, it is Bluetooth only. So it will only communicate with Bluetooth machines to be able to cut directly from the Silhouette Web. Now, anyone can use it, and then you can save your file to your device, send it to your computer where you could cut it from Silhouette Studio full. You just open the studio file. That is how it was described to me. I will be doing more testing with this. Again, this is the first time I've opened it. So Bluetooth machines, you have your Cameo 3 models and higher. Cameo 3, Cameo 4, Cameo 5 model series. Your Portrait 3 and Portrait 4 are your Bluetooth for that. And the Curio 2. So you can still use it if you have an older model machine. You will just not be able to send directly. So I did ask specifically if you could USB connect to your machine, if you could send it that way. And the answer was no at that time. So we'll see how things go forward. Other than the tutorials for those of us using Silhouette Studios, we benefit from with Silhouette Web. It's web-based. You can access it from tablet. So if you want to design or draw on your pad, when you're out on the go and you have internet, that would be the reason you're not at your computer. You're sitting in front of the TV and you think of an idea and you just want to test it out. That could be another idea. They do have some trace features, which were pretty cool. So I'll just click on this. You can upload an image. It has, again, it doesn't have full blown, just like the Silhouette Studio software with all of the features. That just gets too complex, but you have some options here. So you can tracing. So it will bring in an image that you have, and then you can trace that to make it into a cut file. So there's quite a few different things. I just encourage anyone who is interested and has some time, just get in and play with it. Push the buttons, see what happens. You're not going to break it. It's just an option. So we now have 3 options. They are Silhouette Studio, full-blown software on your computer, installed on your computer. Silhouette Web, which is web-based. It can be accessed from a computer or mobile device, such as an iPad or tablet. It does say it can be accessed by a mobile phone, but again, I can't do that. Maybe a basic shape, maybe to show somebody something, but I'd end up just cussing at it. My fingers are too big. My screen's too small. I can't do that. If you can, great. I'd love to see it. Let's see, Vanessa, I'm never going to see that on my phone, but I do have another reason for an iPad. I love my iPad. I do have to say, I do Pinterest from it, and I do like Procreate, is a drawing app or a design app. You can do pencil work. I'm not great at it, but I do have some tutorials on how you can draw some things and bring them in as cut files. I know a lot of people, sticker makers, use that. Okay. Is there a release date for the Curio 2 embossing mat? The Curio 2 embossing mat is out. It's been out since last fall. It is the 12 by 12 embossing mat for the Cameo 5 and the Curio 2. I did check when I saw your comment, Carrie, the other day. It is out of stock on the Silhouette website. I did not get a chance to ask when it would be in stock, but I can send an email out and see if anybody knows. Just waiting on shipping and manufacturing to get that shipped in. So it has been out. It is the same embossing mat as the Cameo 5, 12 by 12 embossing mat. So Teresa says it works. Silhouette Web works with the Cameo 3. So I covered the two. So Silhouette Studio, Silhouette Web, and we have the Silhouette Go app still. So all three of those remain. So it is the Silhouette Web is not in replacement of Silhouette Go. I've seen some inaccurate information out there about that. So I've actually seen quite a few inaccurate information about that. And another reason I wanted to do the live to bring you the information direct from Summit. So yes, the new power tools. We'll get to those in here in just a second. Oh, Teresa, thank you. Teresa says you are great at Procreate. It is really fun, and I like to learn new things. So it's fun to play around with. And there are some really cool tools in there, such as the warp. It's so easy to do warp in Procreate. So if you have an iPad, get Procreate, look up a warp tutorial. You can warp all kinds of text and everything. But it also has like a replicate tool so that you can symmetrically replicate. So you just have to draw one line and it replicates it for the whole thing. So you can create mandalas and stuff like that easily. Sorry, I have to slow down or I'm going to choke again on my wine. Not wine. I wish it was wine. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm laughing here. I'm tired. So bear with me. So we are already, holy cow, I was hoping this would be quick. So let's get into, let's see, I have a list of what I was going to do. Software versions, we have covered those. If you do have questions, I can open it up at the end for those questions, or you can also leave those in the comments after the video has processed, and I'll see those and I can answer those. So let's go ahead and get into the next portion of this. So I have this lined up here. Let's see, you can't see that on the screen. Let me see. I will share this. Outed. Teresa, thanks for keeping me honest, I guess. I have been told it is, what is it, imposter syndrome, that I don't give myself enough credit. Procreate is pretty fun. Let's share this separate screen. Here is something. Okay, so I'm going to share this screen. I have prepared some of my photos that I took, and I've already seen some of this being shared out there, claiming it as their own. So these are all photos that I have taken at Summit. I just need to get to the right screen. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to pull this up. So the new heap. Oh, hold on. I got a screen I wanted to share. I have this full screen so you guys can see it. There we go. So Silhouette Cloche. It is a cute little heat press. I do have specs with it. I will share this so you can see this little screen in the bottom. They let us do a make and take with it. This was the largest size. So this is a large shirt, and this was the largest design that they had. So I'll talk about that more here in a minute when I come back full screen, but I did test it. I did try it out. So I'll give you some information on this. Initially, they will release in 3 colors. So you have white, you have chiffon pink. It's not called white. Let me do this right. You have milky white, you have chiffon pink, and you have ice green. Now, I will say the ice green, the lighting was not great. This is actually a photo I took. So right there, the lighting was perfect. Milky white, Sarah says. The lighting was perfect. Once we got into the classrooms and stuff, I couldn't really tell the difference a lot of times between the milky white and the iced green. The Cloche Petite is what you see next to the machine. That is a little handheld heat press. So first, it comes with the Cloche full machine. It is not sold separately at this time. We did suggest that it might be something that users would want to buy separately. Currently, it comes only with the heat press. The heat press is going to retail for $249.99. That is, I'm pulling that from the website. So if you see me, look over there. 3 colors. There is a potential for 7 additional colors. However, your retailer is the one that has to make that choice. They have, if they want an exclusive color, they have to work with Silhouette to get that color. If you watch, it's linked, maybe not linked. I do have a playlist for Silhouette Summit out there. I will make sure that the live that I did with the walk around is in that for the, I actually did the runway with the Cloche. It is light. It is approximately 10 pounds. I was able to hold it over my head with one hand. I am not a runway model, and I was not a paid actor. So it is cute. It is stylish. It can be put on the shelf as the photo indicates. So it can be, it's very compact that you could just slide it in on a shelf when not in use. It is a 6x10 heat platen. Yes, you did hear that very clearly. It is a 6x10 heat platen. And I'll share, let's just go over to the next photo here. We did, surprise, I was shocked. We received a Cloche, and I'll give you a little bit closer look. We received one as an attendee. So I will give you a closer look. I was going to do a demo tonight, but that's going to be way too much time. So I will have another demo out there. So I just wanted to share that. I will have that information coming up. Here's another look with it standing up. So on the right is your green, your, goodness, it's going to take me a while. Ice green. So on, yeah. See, here it's hard to tell. I really think the ice green is the one on the right, the one here. And then this is your milky white. This is your chiffon pink. So that's how it, when it stands up, it can slide easily on the shelf. And it is pronounced Cloche. So we asked why it was named that way. And we were told that it is a combination of close and touche. So like touche is on guard, close, on guard. That's all I can say about that. I'm not sure I understand it. But here's a look at the heat platen open. It does have a removable silicone mat on top of it. I did ask if it was going to be available for a replacement, and they said not when it's released, but yes, it will be able to purchase the silicone mat as a replacement part. You do want to use the silicone mat when you're using the Cloche Petite. You want to just make sure your surface is protected when you're using that. So we'll cover that here in just a second. But here's a look at it open. It is a 2-tone color. This is the chiffon pink that we were sat in front of, so we were able to take photos and look at it. So Vanessa says she likes the green. It's okay if it looks white. Love that it stores, and the Cloche makes it. I think also it really depends on what's around this, around the space. The first photo that we saw, it's on a white tablecloth with some better lighting, better backlighting, because it was on a display. So you can really see that color there. In this photo here, they had brown tablecloths for our influencer room. So this was where we were able to set it up however we wanted. Sarah and I did this together. We had several time slots. And so we did the photography and videos together at the same time. And this is how it looked on a brown tablecloth with side lighting from a full wall of windows. So, that gives you some context there, I think. And you can kind of see that, I would call it like a blush, but chiffon pink is what they called it. So here is your heat temperature guide. You have low. Let me get in here to my notes. I did write this down just so that I make sure I get this right. Your low is 250 degrees Fahrenheit. Your medium, which is kind of in the shaded part, you can't see the M, is 320 degrees Fahrenheit. And your high is 400 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, this machine is not plugged in. It was not plugged in at the summit. I just wanted you to see the dial. There is no digital display whatsoever. So the only way you can truly know how hot that heat platen would be to get a digital thermometer and to test that. You can set it in between low and medium, so you can adjust that as needed. A digital thermometer, I will put a link in the description below for the one that I purchased on Amazon. I'll do that after the video. I'll make a note here. But a digital thermometer is a great thing to have no matter what heat press you have. So just write that down. And I'll add links to additional information for questions as well. Thermometer. Let's spell that right. So you do have, this is your temperature setting. If you do have any questions about this heat press as I'm going through it, feel free to drop those in the comments and I will make sure to get those covered in this section. 6x10. Let's see. Yeah. Okay. So when we move on, let's see what the next photo is. Here is the locking mechanism on the Cloche. All I can say is don't be rough. It is designed with the hobbyist crafter in mind. It is not designed for commercial use. The locking mechanism has several movable parts in there, and it does lock in a specific way and unlock in a specific way. So it's going to take some getting used to in how that functions, because I didn't do it right the first time. And the little gal that was doing the demo was like, no. She did not want me to break it. So you have to get used to the right way to open it and close it. It does need to be closed. And as Sarah says, she's not wrong. Sarah keeps saying she broke it. When she did her demo for the hands-on thing that we did, let's see, this little piece here, it popped out. It came off. It was able to be put back together, but she kind of surprised the demo person as well. So, it's one of those things. We're users. We're going to use the product. And if this is how I can tell you what happens, because I learned from Sarah. I let Sarah break it for me. Let's see. Marlene says she hopes they sell the Cloche Petite separate down the track. I think it would be a great idea. We did make them aware of that. I use HTV scraps with a punch to make little things. That is an awesome thing. It would be awesome. It would be awesome for this. I think so too. And I've also heard somebody say it would be awesome for cards, for putting HTV on cards. Really flat objects would be great. The maximum thickness, let's see what this next photo is that I have. So here's another look at this while we look at this. The maximum thickness is 5 millimeters. So, and I will say that again, 5 millimeters. It will not do a hoodie. That's too thick. It did do my t-shirt. So this large t-shirt for the design area was on the platen. This top piece had to be rolled in, and they had to roll the bottom up to fit where you see this section here, where the heat temperature thing is, in order to be able to close the press. But it did work. So your thickness maximum is 5 millimeters. Now, we tested this. We put this journal inside. And let me see if my calipers are here. First off, I think they grew legs and walked away. My husband has had my calipers. So I have just a ruler here. This is the journal that we got at Summit with my notes. And it is 1 centimeter. So it's 10 millimeters. So this is too thick. You will break your machine if you try to press on something like this. And I said that to Sarah when we tested it. Now I didn't push down on it because it's not my machine. I'm not going to break it. I'm not going to try to break it. Maybe that's why they came over to the table, Sarah. They saw me putting the journal in and they ran over because pretty soon there were 2 Silhouette employees standing behind us. I just thought about that right now. It prompted some other questions that I'll cover here in just a second. But yeah, they appeared very quickly now that I think about it once I put that journal in there. I didn't pull down, but if you try to put something that is more than the 5 millimeter, or, if you try to push the limits on this machine, I can see it breaking. And that is not within the specs of the actual design of the machine. So if you break it because you're doing something you're not supposed to, that's not the machine's fault or the company's fault. So if you're trying to do something too thick in the machine and it breaks, that's your risk that you take. So here, let's see, any questions? Yep, the heating, I'll get to the Cloche here, Petite. Yeah, I think it's going to have its place for some crafters, hobbyists. I have seen several comments, and I do want to bring this up. I've seen several comments about taking it to events. If you want to try it, great. I personally do not feel it will be a good machine for events. The reason is we did ask, and it does have auto shut off, which is great. The auto shut off works if it's open. It will automatically shut off after 5 minutes. If it's closed, it will automatically shut off after 2 minutes. Now, once I said that, I am going to double check my notes just because you never know. But I do want to give the information correctly. So direct from our meeting. I have a lot of notes here. Yes, auto shut off after 2 minutes when it's closed. Auto shut off after, this says 15. Okay, I'll have to verify that because I haven't talked about the timer yet. Okay, I'm getting there. Okay. Back to events. Events, I don't think it's a great option based on the fact that you can use it for 1 hour and then it needs to cool down for 30 minutes. So it is really designed with your hobbyist crafter in mind. The one who wants to do small projects and is not mass producing and who needs or wants to have it to be able to be nicely put away and stored. And also for style, for your decor, if you have it on your shelf like they do in the display. As Sarah brought up, I did skip over the timer, not intentionally. I just, I wanted to talk about the time use. So again, that is, it can be used for 1 hour consecutively. Then it needs a 30-minute cool down. That is where the auto shut off comes in. So I will verify on that. My notes say when it's open, it's 15 minutes. But Sarah, do you remember? Did you write that down? Do you have your notebook? You might be at the hockey rink. The timer. There is no digital displays on this whatsoever. Some of this, in my opinion only, it was not stated at the conference, but my opinion is the more that you add into a machine, it doesn't matter if it's a Silhouette machine or if it's a heat press, 3D printer, whatever. 15. Okay, 15 with it open. And you have to heat it up when it's open. The more you add into a machine, the more expensive it is to manufacture, which also means the more expensive it is to the consumer. If you get too expensive for a craft heat press, in this case, if you get too expensive to be able to cover your costs for manufacturing and as a business make a little bit of profit, the consumer's not going to buy it. It's going to be outpriced. So that is part of the reason I do believe it is designed the way this is. Again, hobbyist crafter who wants a little bit of style. Not really for mass production. If you are mass producing with a heat press, you really should get a heat press. It's going to be very more efficient for you in the long run and less taxing on your body. Now, this one isn't too bad, but if you're using something like an easy press or something, or an iron, if you're doing a lot, it's worth the investment, in my opinion. Just, I can feel it on my body when I use a heat press or use an easy press or something like that, where I have to manually add the pressure. I can feel that on my body. So I'm sure others do too. Okay. So as Sarah said, you do have to heat it up with it open. That was a little bit of a shock, I think, in the room when we were in the class, because we had a lot of international users that are very energy, conscious. And somebody did say, well, it'll heat up my apartment. So they have smaller apartments than we have here in the US, I think. And so it's, just different things that you're going to see. So timer, there is a 45-second automatic timer. When the machine closes and you lock it in place, the timer starts. There is no way to change that. 45 seconds is when it beeps. So if you are going to be using products that do not need 45 seconds, which we don't know who presses their HTV for 45 seconds. We asked why it was set that way. And we were told that it was because that is what the Silhouette HTV uses, but that is not what's on the website. So I do have the link I checked the link for Fresh Desk for their heat press. What I'm going to say is, and I have to test this, so this is all what I've put together myself. It is what works with this heat press. Or it is what worked with the vinyl, the HTV that they tested it with. I would assume that is Silhouette HTV. However, we didn't see any of the product packaging when we were doing our demos and stuff. So I can't really tell you for sure. I use Caesar Easy Weed HTV, which is a 15-second press at 305. So it's a lot lower. You could still do that with this. I would get a digital thermometer, and just to make sure that you know where to set the dial for that, heat surface to be correct. I do feel like 45 seconds over presses. So here's where we get into that. They used it this way. This is how they demoed the whole day, 2 days, or 1 day. We recorded the second day. So 45-second initial press. Then it was a cold peel. And then you pressed it with another 45-second finishing press. Now, I am just stating what we were told and what we used. If I get this, that's still on the table because I already have several heat presses. So we'll see if it ends up in my studio. It's, it very well could be. You might see it sitting on the back here in the once they're released. Test it with your materials because it may not be the same as whatever the developer of this machine who designed it used in their testing. And that may be where all the 45-second times come from. So this is, let's go through the rest of the photos here. I know this is longer than I expected to be. So here is what it looks like closed. It's not currently locked. It's just set down. And that looks to be the end of that slideshow. I am going to come back here, full screen. Okay. And let's see. So first off, this is the shirt. I wanted to do, it's fresh out of my suitcase. I didn't want to hold the line up and I forgot that it needed the 45-second finishing press. So I did not do that. I am curious how this will hold up. I will show you what I have seen after it came out of my luggage. Now this, bear in mind, this was pressed at the Silhouette Summit several days ago. So it was pressed on Wednesday. I did not do the finishing press. I walked away before that because I was recording and I just didn't want to hold the line up. When I got it out of my suitcase, I'm not sure you'll be able to see this or not. Let's see if it'll focus. There's maybe, let's see. I noticed some spots. I can't get it to focus on it. I noticed some spots on it that are kind of textured, but it's not everywhere. So there's a lot of spaces that are smooth, but there's a lot of places that seem like where it was folded and it was still hot, and that could be, very well could be because I peeled the carrier sheet. It did feel cool, but then I probably crumpled it up and put it in my bag. So it's probably me, user error. But I noticed it when I pulled it out to share with you guys tonight. Now, here is a look at, let's see, make sure my microphone's still here. Here's a look at the Cloche Petite. It is cute. So it has to be plugged in by USB-C. It is a USB-C to C adapter. It can be powered. It can be powered by the heat press because it comes with it, and it actually stores on the back side, so you won't lose this. It does need to be plugged in. Somehow I got lipstick on it. I don't think I kissed it, but somehow I got lipstick on it. It does not. It needs to be plugged in, but you could also use it with another power source, which is great since they gave us one and we don't have the actual heat press. I'll do a demo on this, but the basics of it, and it actually came with instructions. So here you go. There are the instructions, but I'll tell you about it too. You do want to do this on a heat safe surface. So you would want to use the silicone mat that's with the heat press or Artist Pre-Protective mat. I'll put a link in the description below. I love that mat because it's heat safe to 400 degrees. So for HTV, this is the size of the platen. And Sarah, I think you said it's about the size of a dime. Oh, you know what? I got that ruler. So it is a little bit over a centimeter. It's about a half an inch. There we go. It is a half inch. So half inch in diameter. So it is really designed. This is designed for either small sections like a heart, little small designs. We saw it on a t-shirt, which I thought was a cute idea. They had a piece of HTV and a rhinestone. I don't have a photo of that, but I should have gotten one. So for heat transfer vinyl, we'll try to do this. You're going to tap. After it's heated, it heats up very quickly. You're going to tap because you want to protect your heat transfer. It's very, very hot, so don't touch it. Just like you don't want to touch your press. It's very hot. You tap. So you'll hold it straight down, tap until it is secured. If you're doing a rhinestone, it is a half an inch. So you could do maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe that many. You want to make sure you get full pressure on that. You can press it down and hold it because you're not going to melt the rhinestone. So that is how they described it. Are there any questions about the heat press? I do have one more thing to add to that. Okay. So Sarah, now that I'm thinking about it, they were standing behind us, and it's probably because I was trying to press the journal and they ran over there. But while they were there, we were able to ask them another question. So I do not think that they even had the thought of sublimation in mind. Sublimation, the question was, can you use it for sublimation? I think it was somebody else in the room asked about it. And then we asked them and started talking to the 2 Silhouette employees again. It does get up to 400 degrees on the high setting. So technically, for things that are up to 400 degrees, it would be able to sublimate anything that's under 5 millimeters and fits in the press, under 5 millimeters thick. However, the timer is set to 45 seconds. The only way to stop the timer is to open the press, which does not work with sublimation, or you can get ghosting. Now, you can give it a try if you want, but in my experience, if you're going to open that, it is probably going to ghost. So if you want to use it for sublimation and you can stand the beeping, it wasn't quite loud in the big demo room, but if you're in a smaller room, it would really annoy me very quickly. So yeah, beep, beep, beep. So most things that you sublimate are 60 seconds or longer. So you just have to decide that. The heat is there, but I don't think it was designed with sublimation in mind whatsoever. That is the feeling I got when Sarah and I were talking to the Silhouette employees, and the looks on their faces. So any questions about sublimate or about the Cloche? Not sublimation. We'd be here all night. Any questions? If you have them, drop them down in the comments. Yeah, Sarah got that same feeling. So let me go back here. The next up on my list is we are going to get into the tools. I really didn't expect to go this long, but I'm going to just stick it out and I'm going to cover everything I wanted to cover. Again, this is from my perspective at the summit, and these are my photos that I took. So if you hang out, if not, come back, join me, and I will try to put chapters in the description below for you to jump to whatever section you want to cover. But I do encourage you to ask questions here because you have me live and you can see my face when I'm doing that. And I'm just sharing the real one. Oh, thank you, Crystal. I forgot to cover that. Shoot, I was trying to keep it all concise. Software. Let's jump back into the software real quick. Let's see. Crystal says, let's cover her question first. When are they going to bring out the software update? Because I can't update my software at all. It keeps wanting me to, but I can't. Okay, first off, never, ever, ever use the pop-up in the software. It is broken. It's had issues in the past, especially with Mac users, but now it is just broken for the majority of users, Windows and Mac. I reported it in July. It is still a problem. Do not update through the pop-up. We're seeing either two things. One, it doesn't do anything, or two, it wipes out your Silhouette software completely and it does not reinstall it. It is something to do with the Silhouette website migrations. You can easily fix it yourself. I'm kind of come back over here. Let me share my screen, cover this real quick. Always, always, always update through the Silhouette website. So you are going to come over to the Silhouette America website. I'll just go to the home page. Silhouette America website, SilhouetteAmerica.com. Click on software. And then you want to make sure you are under Silhouette Studio. Right now, as you see on the screen, Silhouette Studio is the top one. For months and months, it has been playing switcheroo with Silhouette Connect. So make sure you are under Silhouette Studio. And then you want to click on Windows. If you move your mouse over it, it's going to turn white. Download is what it says. We've asked them to provide more instructions for users, but here's how to do it. Move your mouse over either Windows or Mac, whichever computer you have, and then it will download. If you are a Windows user, when you go to install it, once you download it, you have to open it to install. When you go to install it, double check in the bottom taskbar here. Oh, the little thing doesn't come through, I don't think, on the screen. Okay, well, I was pinging it, but it wasn't. In the bottom taskbar, down at the very bottom of the screen, then watch for shields. They used to be flashing shields, but they are no longer flashing. It's just a Windows shield that pops up. You have to give it permission to install, and you have to agree to all of those pop-ups or it will not install. That is a Windows thing. It's Microsoft. It has nothing to do with Silhouette Studio, but that is usually where it gets stalled out for people. Okay. You should not have to log in anymore. They changed that. So you should, because we complained. Boy, did I complain. That was for just a couple days, maybe even a week, but yeah, they changed it. So now it's a CAPTCHA. So I'll click on this. I've already got it, but now you should see this. Please verify CAPTCHA. What the reason behind it is they had to implement something in there to prevent bots from dinging the website. Bot overload. The more advanced we get, the more advanced those bots get, and they are a pain in the butt for all of us. So Crystal, try that. And if you still can't, then please post on the Silhouette Secrets Facebook group and we will see what we can do. Okay, so back to the Silhouette website. Now, I do not have a look at this. Let me see. I just have Go. I may have a photo, but I really don't. I don't think I do. I can't remember. My photos are all still, I just pulled as what I could. Silhouette Studio. Let's just pop back over here. They are releasing Silhouette Studio version 5. And I'm sorry that I did not mean to skip over this when I said it before. I'm trying to keep it all concise and I'm just moving too fast. I just need to slow down because you guys want to know this information. I know you do. Silhouette is releasing version 5 of the Silhouette Studio software, which is the program that is downloaded direct on your computer. I'm going to say first, it is going to be great. The look on my face is because it is changing. So icons are changing. The look is changing. It is being streamlined. It is also going to have a beginner-friendly mode, which means that it will walk beginners through. If you are on that mode, you can take it out of the beginner-friendly. Sarah, do you remember what that was called? It was called something. I'd have to look at the photo. Maybe I have it in my notes. Let's see. Let's just double check while I have you guys here. Hardware, Cameo 4. So it's Studio 5. So it is not even out in beta yet. That's why I can't show you it on the screen. We did get to see it, and I do wish I had pulled that photo if I had it. It doesn't look like I have it. Starter mode. Thank you, Sarah. Okay, I thought of it just as I saw you put it in there. So it will have a little thing at the top that says starter mode. It is going to look different than what you see on the screen here. It's not that much different. It really is not when you look at it. The reason you see the look on my face is because it is different. That means all of my tutorials and classes and everything else that I have for version 4 will need to be updated or I have to start again. I knew it was coming. Someday it was going to happen. So at the moment it was announced, I honestly, the first thing I thought was, yes, it's still available. So it is still available as a completely downloadable program on your computer. Second, yes, it's making it better for beginners. Walk you through step by step, click the buttons, follow the instructions. It is perfect for a starter. So they have listened, they have heard users, and they are implementing that. They are also streamlining the icons. So they're changing the icons. They still represent what that tool is. But there are some neat features, like these icons will not be all little squished icons. They will now expand in a little bit, like 2 or 3 columns if you have the business edition. So you have all of these icons versus this little pop out down here. So it is a little more user-friendly for people with different screen sizes. So it is coming soon. They hope to have at least a beta. I think they hope to have the public version released by Christmas, but it'll go into beta testing first. I have been told that. They assured me of that because I am a big, advocate for testing it in the beta group with actual users before it gets released to the public, because typically we find something that could be, an issue, and maybe they can fix it before it's rolled out. But again, there are powers at play, powers at be, that are the ultimate deciding factor on what happens and what happens when. So sometimes people are told that they have to release something or do something before it is to their, liking that it be released. There are just deadlines that have to be met and rolled out. And then it's fixed afterwards. So Therese is excited. Now, we did have a beta testing group meeting at the summit where people were invited to come and learn more about it. It is something that it's where I report a lot of the issues, and where I sometimes I go in there if I don't know the answer, or if I don't have time to do all the testing behind the answer, because there's more knowledgeable people. Again, while I'm a top troubleshooter and power user, there are things I don't know. And that's how I learn, is I ask questions and I test and I work through it. So Silhouette version 5 is going to be great. It's going to change things a bit on the look on the screen. So as far as the look on my face right now, it is simply because I know that it's a bit overwhelming on all the future work for tutorials, classes, and troubleshooting, because when a user posts, photos are very, very helpful. And in this case, will be even more helpful to be able to help you faster, because there's going to be several different versions out there at play. I mean, we still have people who are on version 3 of the software, which gets more and more difficult to troubleshoot the farther away we get from something. So are there any questions on the Silhouette version 5? Put those in the comments below and I'll catch those here in just a second. As I said, as beta testers, we don't even have a version. We were told it would be coming soon to those of us who were at Summit as a closed beta, possibly. But the software team is based out of London, Essex, London, out of the UK. So it's really great to be able to connect with them directly. And actually, I was able to meet several of them that I have worked with for several years. So that's a number one factor of why I like going to Summit, is to be able to make those connections and to meet the people that I've been working with for many, many years. So it continues to be why I do what I do, is the connections, the community, and that's what I'm trying to build. So I don't see any questions there. Let's see, moving on, and there will be time at the end. If you do have questions, you can put those in there. Just a couple more sections to cover. We have Silhouette tools. Now this, I have to say, is probably my most exciting part of the entire thing. So I am going to stop share here and I'm going to switch it to the next slideshow or the next share. Again, these are all my photos. People have been asking if Silhouette, oh yes, Teresa, while we're doing that, there have been questions on whether the new version 5 will work with all of the machines. The answer is yes, as far as I know. I think that was covered in the conference. I can't remember if anybody asked, but Silhouette has always been very, very good about making the software work for all older model machines. They do not brick machines. They do not, if a machine gets bricked for some reason, it's not on purpose. It's random. It just happens. It can be fixed. But they don't make a machine obsolete when they release these softwares, or they haven't in the past. As technology advances, there are times that things have to change. So there are times that for instance, with Cameo 1 and Portrait 1 machines, there was a Microsoft update that they did not make anyone aware of. Microsoft did not say it in their release notes. But when Windows 10 was released, or a version of Windows 10, it made connecting to a 1.0 USB connection obsolete. It would not connect, and it affected not just Silhouette machines, but printers and fax machines and anything else that was a 1.0 USB connection. Technology advances, and there are times that companies can't do anything. Now, there are other companies out there that they don't want to even mess with it. They don't, they're not even going to entertain the idea. So they just cut those machines off completely. Silhouette has not been like that in the past. So it is Plymouth. That's where it's at. It's in Plymouth in the UK. So, it's not intentional at the moment. If there's something like a Cameo 1 or a Portrait 1, you can still use those. You can still connect, but you do have to update the firmware. So eventually, it was a couple months. Everybody blames Silhouette. It was not their fault. It was nothing they could do, but they did find a fix. Sometimes it takes some time to find that fix, and you have to find the right person to be able to identify what the issue is and then find and test the fix for that. So that is what happened in the past. If you've been around, for the Cameo 1, Portrait 1, any length of time. So yes, Silhouette version 5 will work with the older machines. Silhouette Web will be able to send direct to Bluetooth machines, but you can still use it and then save the file and use it with an older machine. So Anita says, I'm looking forward to trying the starter mode. I've had the business for years, but I've never really used it. Starter mode's going to be great. It's going to be step by step. You don't have to really think about it. I think it's going to be good. I'm going to use it because there's just days that I don't want to think about it. I just want to push a button. I wish they would do an adoption for the Silhouette to bring the heat tools to us. I don't understand that. Do an adoption for the Silhouette Crystal, do you mean an conversion or an adaptation to make it compatible with older models? Let me know if that's what your question is. I'm going to run out of water. I didn't expect to really talk this long, but it's a lot of information. Sarah and I were in the conference from 9 to 5 the first day. We did the classes. Not everybody does the classes, but that is where we ask the questions. So we ask a lot of questions. We had a few people who followed us around. They wanted to be at our table because we asked the right questions. That's what they said to us. So I'm just repeating what they said. And I'm sure there was people there that we annoyed with our questions. But my questions and Sarah's questions, Sarah says we're the challenging ones. We did challenge them. There are times when we have questions that they don't know the answers to. They usually find out the answer for me because they know I'm not going to let it go because it's going to come up. It's really going to come up. So moving on to the next one. Feel free to leave your questions down there and I will answer those. But new tools, this is where I am so excited. I had no idea. This was not one of the things that I had been given information on at all. So this was a surprise. I probably should have just stood up and started cheering, especially after the other announcements where I was thinking about how I was going to do the next few years. So we have new power tools. Now, the power tools are for the Cameo 5, the Portrait 4, and the Curio 2. I understand that people would really like the machines to be able to utilize these tools for older models. But again, it comes down to the technology and the components inside the machine. So the guts inside the older model machines are not capable of using these tools. They do not fit in the tool housings. They do not have the powered adapter. They do not have the electronics inside the machines to be able to utilize these tools or the new accessories like the electrostatic bed. For instance, the electrostatic bed connects onto the front of the machine. There's no connections for that otherwise. There is no powered connection on the front of the older model machines where it could be powered by the machine, which is how it functions. I know, and I do understand when you have an older model machine, there are many times you cannot afford or to be able to invest into the equipment. However, it is not cost effective for a company to try to retrofit new products to older model machines. It is just not something in the manufacturing world that is cost effective. They would lose money and it would close the business. If you try to go back into the older technology or to support older technology that has been, it was the best for the time that it was developed and manufactured. It's just not feasible. So we have these new tools. Users asked for more. I personally would love to go back to the Cameo 1, and I stated this to several employees, even the software team. I'd love to go back to the Cameo 1. It was a simplistic machine. It had a blade. You set the blade. You tested. You troubleshot it. When I started with the Cameo 1, there was hardly any information out there. Now, fast forward, and that was, let's see, that was, I think 2011 was when I started with my Cameo 1. And there was hardly any information out there. So I did it on my own, but I also had previous experience from being a Cricut user. And I took that Cricut and the Cricut software, which was on a CD at that time, and I put it through its paces. So I had experience and I knew what to do because you did that with those machines. So thank you, Teresa, for joining. I know it's late there. And I wasn't sure how long this would go. So, it's just, I'd love to just have a simple machine like that again. But users ask for more, and to stay competitive in the market with other machines and other, products out there, we have more. It's exciting and it's pretty cool. The Cameo one, it had a clearance of, was it 1 millimeter or 2 millimeters? It was low. I think it was 1 millimeter. So now we're up to a clearance of 3 millimeters, which is great for using other materials. 3 millimeters with a Cameo or portrait. Curio 2 now has a clearance of 20 millimeters to utilize materials that are up to 20 millimeters thick. It cannot cut 20 millimeters. It still has a cut capacity of 3 millimeters, and you would have to be a very experienced user in order to get it to do that. But you can do things like journals and hot heat pen foil on journals and sketch on wood, which I have videos out on, or sketch on canvas with the Curio 2 at the 20 millimeter clearance. So it is really unique and really cool. So let's talk a little bit about these tools, and then I'll answer those questions there. So first one, let's start with this one here. So this is going to be an addition onto the pen adapter for tool 2, the type C pen adapter. This little orange piece here, and I guess, oh wait, hold on. Let me share the right screen. I made it bigger on my end, but not on your end. Sorry, you've been staring at the wrong photo forever. Okay, so let's see if it'll ping it. It's not pinging it. Okay, you're just gonna have to look at my mouse. So this is the pen adapter, type C pen adapter for tool 2 on the Cameo 5, Portrait 4, and Curio 2. Here is the extra large adapter, which can now fit a Sharpie. The one thing I do want to say with this, and I do have a video, I will link that in the description below after the live for the sketch. This tool type C is great. It does utilize larger diameter pens, and it is great. Now this XL tip or adapter, my words are failing me, can now utilize a regular Sharpie, regular size diameter Sharpie. People ask for that. You can see the look on my face. Great. It's great, but it stinks. Oh my gosh, it stinks. They were doing it in the demo room. I could smell it. I couldn't even stand next to the machine because the Sharpies just smell. And when they were doing these, shoot, I don't have a photo. You can go watch the video that's linked in the description below. I show it sketching. It's really, really cool. And I'll probably do it, but I'm going to turn on my air purifier because it stinks. They did a 24 by 24 inch almost sketch. It's 19 by 24 inch cardstock. So they were sketching on that with the Cameo 5 Mark Pro, a Pro Mark II. And that was really cool. It was really neat to see. So I'm excited for that. The first thing Sarah said to me was, now you can do your map sketch. If you followed me, I sketched a big map with the Cameo Pro years ago, and it worked, but it would be nice to do it in a little bit darker mode too. So that is the first one. So this is going to be compatible with your Cameo 5, Portrait 4, and Curio 2. Cameo 5 models. Let's just put it that way. So all of them. Yes, I think I got that right. Then you have here is your superfine heat foil pen. Great intricate designs. You'll see some of that here from my photos. I pulled some from my videos that are still shots because I was just so busy doing recordings that I forgot to go back and take photos. By the time I did, they were packing up the demo room. So, so heat foil pen, I will also link that in the description below because I have a full tutorial on how to use that as well. But it's going to work with your more intricate designs, which is great. Just a finer tip there. And I have some more details coming up soon. This tool here is your new, let's see, that's a diamond. So it is the Power Engraver, Superfine Power Engraver. And then on the right here is your new leather carving tool. And I am so excited for both of these tools. Once I get them, I will start testing and put that out. The projects I saw looked really good there. They were actually in, they were showing them being done. And I show that in my videos as well. So here's a look at the actual tips on those. A little closer look. Some of them are kind of out of focus, but this is your heat foil pen here, your power engraving superfine tip here, and the leather carving tool here. So yes, so let's see here. We'll cover the heat pen superfine. Let me just touch on these. Let's see. Will the Mark II be able to use the power tools? Yes. The Cameo 5 Mark II, and I will cover that in a little bit more detail here, but it does utilize all the same tools as the Cameo 5. Kay with Clever Someday says backwards compatibility isn't possible with the power tools and the ES bed, but it would only take a small software tweak to make embossing tools and the Type-C pen holder compatible with the Cameo 4. Bug Silhouette about this. She has Bug Silhouette. I've seen it. So that is something that they are aware that users want. Is the pen adapter going to be available for the Cameo to make it so it can write with a Sharpie? This will be the only Type-C. I don't know if they're going to make that for the Type A or B. I doubt it. It's based on the barrel size of the actual pen adapter. So they'd have to manufacture a completely new pen adapter that would fit all of those size adapters that screw in. So I think it's just going to be the Type-C. Now I could be wrong, but as far as I know, it'll be the Type-C. The power engraver and the leather carving tool are Curio 2 only. And we'll see that here in just a second. Let's see. Kay says, fine tip foil looks like a very shallow dwell. Did they show it on anything squishy? Let's see in my photos, Kay. Off the top of my head, actually, I think there is. We'll see here in just a second in my photos. Maybe not. So here it is, the superfine heat pen that Kay was asking about. We now have 3 tips. So we have the 2.5, the 1.0 that was released last year, and now the superfine, which is 0.5. So this is pretty cool for some intricate designs. So here's some faux leather. Kay, oh, you can't see the ping. They did it on a journal. That's as close up as I have on that. Your fills, you can see here. Let's see, maybe I can zoom in. Can I zoom in? Will it zoom in? Here we go. Let's see. Okay, these are going to get blurry. I pulled these off of the video, but I'll zoom in for you guys. This is going to be done on the Curio 2 because of the thickness of the journal. This one's also done on the Curio 2. Your fill, it looks like some emboss here, like we've seen in the past. And it'll just depend on your fills that are used, but that looks similar to what was done in the past. You probably could have done some of that with the current tips. So here is the faux leather. So that's kind of a squishy material. But faux leather doesn't really like emboss, not like the journal because it doesn't have the hard surface. Excuse me. Kay, let me know what kind of squishy material are you looking for? I can't think of anything squishier than these journals right now, but I'm sure there's out there. And then here's a couple others. Let's just move this back to full screen. So there's a couple others. I think I have some closer photos. Again, I pulled these off of my video still shots just because I didn't go back and take photos before they closed everything up. But there's some looks at cardstock. So some very intricate designs. That's really neat for people who would keep in mind, the larger your design or the more intricate the design is, or the tighter the fill is on a design affects the time it takes for that design. And then here is one where they did some handwriting or a sketch font. So your heat pens are really going to work well with some sketch fonts, sketch designs, single. It's not really, I mean, single fonts or single designs, yes, line designs, but you can still etch on, or it's basically sketch, but heat foil onto just a regular design. It's just not going to fill it in unless you do the fill yourself. So you have to tell the software to fill that, which will increase your time. And you have to be careful kind of with your foil. If you heat it too much and go over it too much, then it can start to make that foil lift. Let's see. So next photo here. Here is a look. This is the one I'm really excited about. The leather carving knife. So it is a Curio 2 tool only. And there's that photo, Curio 2. And they were using Silhouette double-sided adhesive sheets. It kind of hurt my heart when we were doing the demos, and they were using a full letter size sheet of paper or leather. I'll show you one here in a minute. In this situation, in this demo room here, where the Silhouette employee was showing everybody in the whole everybody in the conference, they were utilizing the whole sheet. So that didn't hurt my heart as much as everything. But when they would peel off the entire adhesive sheet, I just kind of went, I'm more that conservative, save the material type of thing. I've never used these adhesive sheets with my leather. It did leave a sticky residue that we found on the backs of some of the leather. You could try to get rid of that. But I've used protective film to hold it in place. These ones might hold it in place better. But if you're using tooling leather, and we'll see that here. Let's go over to the next slides. You can see they had a little dish of water. You want to, with tooling leather, you wet your leather before you start to carve on it. And that gives it a little softer texture. So it'll allow that tool to basically dig a little deeper into the leather. It moves the leather smoother versus destroying it, basically. So I have a few closer ups. Now I began to question in the last couple of days whether this was processed leather or if it was tooling leather. The more I look at it, it is processed leather, which is different. So it's going to take some practice because the processed leather already has chemicals from the dye and the conditioner and everything that's already in it and the finish on it. So it will be different than your tooling leather, which is what you see here at the top. These two light tan pieces are tooling leather. Let's see here. We'll do some closer ups. So those are a little bit closer on the actual tooling leather. So this one's pretty intricate here. And I do wish I had gone back and got closer photos, but this is what I have and this is what we're going to go with. So these are my photos that I took. Now here is, and looking at the edges and the backing on this, I do feel it is processed leather. So it is not the tooling leather. It's not, I don't feel like it's been finished from the tooling leather by them. I feel like it is a piece of actual processed leather that already has the dye and the conditioner on it and the finish on it. So you can kind of see that in this shine here. I have a lot of leather, so I will be definitely testing it. I do have a closer photo of this. So there's a little bit closer. Again, the lighting is bad. Lighting is terrible in this situation. You're going to be limited in some of the design. Too much intricate with leather. When you get so small and pieces together, it's just going to end up looking squished. So keep that in mind when you are tooling. And that's not just with Silhouette. That's when you hand tool. That's when you use, I've done it with other machines as well. But this is new tools, new carving tool. Before I was using embossing and a blade. It's just going to be different. So here is another one. And again, I'm looking at this. This is processed leather to me. It's got the finished backing. It's all black. It's you can see this kind of the surface of it that you see there. That's what leads me to believe it's processed leather, which I have a lot of. So I will be testing on that. Okay, I didn't look closely at these with the process. She's asking, is it breaking the surface of the leather? Tooling leather, yes. These ones, I'm not 100% on. I think it does look like it is. Let's zoom in here. Let's see what we can see. I mean, it does look like it's breaking the surface. And that also leads me to believe why it's processed leather, because it's a solid, well, this one's black. It's been dyed by a company. It's not just hand dyed. So it's black all the way through. So that's as good as I can get pulling it from my video. So I do have an example here. So here is this is a more intricate with a lot of little pieces here, and I can zoom in. It's a bit rough. I am guessing, I did not see this one done. This one actually looks like it might've been done there. It was not what was on the machine when I was recording, but this one looks like it was just recently done. So there was that one. And then here is one they were doing at the conference. And the only reason I know it was done at the conference or at the demo room was because that's also what shows on the next one. So in this case, and I'll actually try to show it in real time, it is breaking the surface. So your leather dye is going to sit down and darken that line more. So it is breaking that surface. It is going to take practice. And if you are not familiar with leather, you need to understand that. It is not something that you just slap it on and it works perfectly. Leather is just, it's a natural surface, so it can have flaws in it. If your tool catches on one of those flaws, then it could throw things off. There's all kinds of things. If you do a dry carve, it's not going to look the same as if you do a wet carve. No, Kay asked, did they show any with a line fill? And no, they did not have any that were filled in that I saw. So here it is on the Curio 2. It's something definitely to test, but I didn't see any there as the demo with a fill. It will be interesting to test that once I get the tools. There's a little closer look. I'll zoom in here a little bit. So there's the tool in action. Okay, Sarah didn't see anything with a fill either. So it is roughing up that surface. It's breaking that surface of tooling leather. So your tooling leather versus your commercially processed leather. There are all kinds of leather worldwide. So even what I can get from the leather stores here in the US or what I have in my stash, because I purchased over $1,000 worth of leather when I tested it for the Cameo 4 class that I put out. I still have all that leather. My husband and I will use it in different projects, and now I will use it with this testing. But honestly, I just like to go smell my leather. That's weird. It's one of those, you either do or you don't. I walk into a leather store and I just kind of freeze because I don't know what to do. I'll stand there and smell. I like the smell of leather. But I grew up on a ranch. I grew up working with that. My grandfather was a hand tooler. My dad hand tools leather. I'm getting there. I did stitch my first piece of leather, and I have a piece that I want to hand tool. I can't commit because I have to be perfect. And if I mess up, it's like when I'm coloring. If I color the wrong piece of a mandala, I'm done. I can't, it won't look the same. So yeah, that's the cattle rancher in me. Yeah. So there's a close look. Let's go to the next slide. So here is in the classroom, we broke out into smaller tables. This is where we can get more information on each of the machines or the tools, or there was 3 different classes we attended. This is where Sarah and I really got in and asked questions. This is the piece that they tooled right in front of us. So it was all the same design. This one is, Sarah got this piece. I was kind of jealous I didn't grab it first. So, you know, it's new. This one turned out really, really good. We noticed some things on it, which we asked about, but the people who were demoing it, they were just taught how to use the tool, what they were going to do at the show. And they were taught that the day before, and that's what they did. But let's see if that's the last slide. Oh, okay. That's the last slide. Let me stop share here. Whew. Okay. Lots of information. I did bring home a piece. So they did this, and here, let's see if we can get it. So it's pretty much the same. There are this one is rough in some areas. And what I noticed was the person demoing it, again, like I said, they'd just been taught. Let's just do this. They had just been taught the day before. And probably I don't even know that they had 3 tables set up. I don't even know that they had ever worked with leather before, which means you're going to be able to do it if you've never worked with leather before. They were taught how to do it, and they followed the instructions and did what they were told to do. So they had plenty of these, and I asked if I could bring one home. So all kinds of ideas I think of. So you could use this as your outline for hand tooling. If you do hand tool, I'm going to have to get into that now because we have all the supplies. But it gives an idea. Now, it is rough in some areas. That's probably because they either had it too wet or not wet enough. So if you start this, you're going to start to realize when you have a project that is too wet or not wet enough. There is like this even medium, and you have to keep it at that perfect, area. If you get it too wet, it squishes too much. If it's not wet enough, it's going to drag and create rough. Let's see. Kay with Clever Someday says, did they say why they made all the new tools versus just making swappable tips? Different RPMs, maybe. That was not covered at all, Kay. It's a good question. I'd probably ask on the beta group, and then they'll have to refer that up to the product development in Japan. So they didn't cover any of that. So I don't know. At the moment, I don't know that you could remove the tips on the current tools. So that is the leather carving tool. So I'm just really excited. Tools, they don't have a date. They hope by Christmas is what we've been told. Let's see. I missed this earlier, but here is a look at the actual foiling. Let's see if I can get it to focus. There we go. They did this. You could choose which design you wanted, and you could do this with just have them do it right in front of you. So it was like a make and take. So I was able to bring that home with me. This is the superfine foil, heat foil. And I forgot to show that earlier. Kevin says, I'm just catching up with the live. Do you know if we would be able to purchase a new business license with the new studio version? Your current business license will work with the new studio version 5. You can have up to 3 computers with that business edition. So you can have it active on 3 computers. If you have more than 3 computers, then you would need to buy another license, and you would need to contact Silhouette support about how that is handled now. So I'm not sure how they are doing that. Before, you could just buy another license, and I think you can just buy another license if you have more than 3 computers that you need it active on, and it can be on your account. But that was also the old way, and it may have changed, so I don't know for sure. So I would just be as detailed as you can when you submit a question to Silhouette support, and hopefully they will understand what you're asking. Make sure to provide all the details so they know that you know what you're talking about. I am going to move to the next tool, which is also super exciting. The Power Engraver Super Fine. So this is a smaller diameter. So currently the Power Engraver, which works and sounds kind of like hold on. Can't see my screen. Sorry about that. Hold on one second. Just getting into the habit of this. I will get it eventually. The new Power Engraver Super Fine. So here's what it looks like in the package. And then this is Currently, it is a 2.5 millimeter power engraver. It looks like a little tiny Dremel tool it actually has like a ball on it. You'll see that here in a minute. It is now 1.0. So we did ask for this super fine tip. I am so glad they came out with it. Cannot wait to test it. So far, the results I saw were pretty cool. So here's a look close up at the tips. So here is the current tool, the 2.5. And I've done some really awesome things with it. It's super smooth. It has a super fine finish. I prefer a tight fill, but you have to test because not all acrylic is made the same and not all metals are the same. So the lowest fill can sometimes be problematic. So sometimes you want to go up just a little bit, like a 0.10 fill on that. It just depends on your design and your materials that you're using. And the only way to know what is going to look good is to test it. Always, always, always get extra blanks, because if you don't, you're guaranteed to have something go wrong. This new fine tip is on the right here. So this is now let me make sure I get it, 1.0 millimeter tip. So it has this fine tip on it. And here is another look at it. So it is the similar design in the ball tip, where it has that kind of diamond edge of a carving tool, like a Dremel. It's not smooth. It's like a bit type of thing. So it's made that way. Here's another look. So that's a little bit more focused. Super fine tip here, and the current 2.5 millimeter at the top. And then here's a look at, I know what you're going to ask, Kay. I already know it. I will look at the photos here. I don't think there was a fill either. This may have been a little fill in that line, but I didn't get a close-up of that. So they have a fine line here. This was really neat. I thought this looked pretty good for what we currently have available, and what I know Kay and I have tested a lot with the what they said, the old silhouette etch, or the punch tool that they say can etch, and it did not meet either her or my standards as far as fine line etching. So this was really cool. Now I will say, etching on metal is a lot more intensive on your tools. So far, I haven't heard of anyone, and I haven't experienced it myself, in that the tool on the current power engraver dulling. But when you do use different materials, metal is harder than acrylic. So that was really neat to see. And then there it is in action. So I don't recall seeing one that was completely filled in. But it's definitely on my list to test, because I like to test those limits. And with the old Curio 1, I would have engravings and etchings that would take 3 hours. I had classes on how to do that. So again, the more your fill, the tighter your fill, the larger your design, and the size of the design all affect your length of time. It is worth it. So here is a look at the demo that was done in the classrooms. This was just passed around the table. We demoed something else besides this, but I saw it in action in the live room. Now, I will say here, Sarah and I were talking about this. It is a spinning head. It is a spinning tool. And I've seen this, and I've experienced it with the 2.5. It's more prominent in the 2.5. If you have a single line design and you have a spinning head that is only following a line, you are going to have swirl marks. And for some, that is okay in the look. It is different than what we are used to with the old Curio 1. So it is a different tool, and it functions different. So it's just not going to look the same. You can, I can get past this. Like I can do something. So I would go over this twice to try to minimize those swirls that I see. But for most users, they're fine with that. If you've never seen the old style, you would never know it. Okay. Whew, I really did not expect to go this long, but I am going to continue and just share this information. So here, any questions on the tools? We only have two more to cover, two more sections to cover. And then we will be open it up for questions. And I'm sure everybody's sleeping by now, but let me see here. If there are no questions, I can also come back to that. Midlife nap time, wine time maybe, but no, I don't have any. Too many Mai Tais in Hawaii. So our next, you can't see what I see. I'll share my screen here. The Cameo Pro Mark II. The first day of Summit, I had such a hard time saying this. And you know what? Hold on one second. I want to share this. This is the demo. I just put out the video on this evening. This is the demo that was completed in front of me. I told them my initials. It looks like they missed the period. He forgot to type the period in between. You can see it there at the end. But this is the super fine engraving tip doing a outline. So I did see it in action. Got to bring that home with me. So I wanted to share that as well. Yeah, dots on ends. Dots with sketch. There was still dots with sketch. There was still, we pointed it out. Right there in the room, in the classroom. We even took it up to the front. But the people who are doing the demos aren't the people who fix those either. So let's see, we'll share my screen here. The dot that Clever Someday Kay is mentioning. It is the pause at the end of when you're sketching. Let me just come back. When you're sketching, you may have noticed the pen will like pause at the very end, or some other tools can do it too. But when a pen, especially a Sharpie that you're going to see, when a pen pauses, it's going to bleed ink. The trick that many of us have worked with is that we will place another design like a circle outside of the design so that it will finish the design and then it moves to the circle and finishes that. And that's where it pauses before it moves back to the point of origin. So it's all a matter of where that tooltip pauses. If you're using a pen, it's going to, depending on your pen, it can bleed ink into that design. And it looks like a little dot. Yeah. We're going to see the swirling. But there are ways you can get past that if you do multiple passes that's why I would play with the fills on the acrylic, is because then I didn't see the swirls when I did the fills. If it was small enough. So by that, you're smoothing out your swirls with the tool. So, that worked for me. That's what I was doing. So let's go ahead and we'll switch over here and get these last two sections covered. They kind of go together, but I'm going to do them apart a little bit. As you can see on the screen, the Cameo Pro Mark II, I can finally say that without stuttering. Really hard for me to say. Now, I will say the first question I know that people have is, why didn't they just come out with a Cameo Pro 5? Well, the reason I think is because it's in a Cameo 4 body. So that saves some on setting up a new manufacturing for this size machine. And now I'm just putting together the information that I gathered. This is not something they officially said there. All they said is that this is a Cameo 4 Pro body, as you can see on the screen. And let's zoom in here. Let's see. I think I have another photo. There we go. So Cameo 4 body with all the new guts of a Cameo 5 machine. New rollers, more auxiliary rollers, which is what these 5 things are in the middle. They are removable. I have a video linked below. I have a trick for removing these and storing them. So make sure to check out that link in the playlist for the Silhouette Summit for the Cameo Pro Mark II if you are interested. New chassis in the machine, the Cameo, it has the Cameo 5 new parts. So that included a redesign of the chassis, a redesign of the blade housing, stability in the blade housing, the new rollers, and then these new adjustable auxiliary rollers. So you have of all of that. They brought back the repeat job for this. So on the newer Cameo 5 model and the Portrait 4, there's now a repeat job button. Since they used the Cameo 4 Pro body, there is no button for it. But they did program the load button here. You can't see that ding, the ping right here, the load button. If you press that, when you load your material in again, it will be flashing with the material loaded. It is different than the auto load. Auto load flashes before you load it. This is when the material is already loaded in the machine. It will flash the load button. If you push that, it will repeat the job. So that was highly requested. So it is now programmed into the machine, and we did see it function. I will state, you will need to upgrade up. You will need to update software when the Cameo 5 Pro is released. Older software versions are not going to have access to run a Cameo Pro Mark II. That is how it always is with new machines when they come out, because the software, it doesn't go backwards compatible. So you will need to update that, and that's where that repeat job is going to be, programmed into both the software and the machine itself. So there's a look at the front. Let's take a look at the next side view. So again, Cameo 4 body of the Cameo Pro, but it is all the improved guts of the Cameo 5 model in matte black. So that is how we're going to be able to determine, seeing just by a quick glance. Sorry, my cat's climbing the tree over there, if you can hear it. They've decided I've been on way too long. So there is a look at that. These auxiliary rollers are going to be great for being able to keep that material flat. Those do not hold the material in the machine. The left and right rollers are on all machines are what feeds and holds the material in place as it feeds. So those need to be on the material, and it needs to be secure. Now, this Cameo 5, it also has the new roller bar installed in this, in all the Cameo 5 models. So this Mark II has that roller bar as well. It also, which means it can have additional places you can lock this right roller all the way down to 2 inches. And they said, and they showed that they can do a 2-inch piece in the machine. Now, they showed the movement of the rollers, but we did not see the function of the software completing that. So I'll state that right now. I won't be able to test it until I have the software and the Mark II. So you can move these auxiliary rollers. This was a big question I had going into it and talked with product development with. They can be lifted up for use with the auto sheet feeder or thicker materials that might catch on the front. But what they're designed for is to keep your material flat. On all the Silhouette Cameo models, they have the spring guides, which is what you see kind of on the back side here. Let's zoom in. Woo. Okay. On the back side here are your spring guides. Those do not provide pressure. They just work to maintain and keep that material flat between the 2 rollers. There's also a little roller here that helps with keeping it flat and allowing it to freely move in and out of the machine. You now have 5. You will not need to use 5 on all materials or all widths. If you are using 24-inch materials, I would highly recommend using all 5. They don't provide any pressure, but they keep that material flat, which is a definite need on a 24-inch cutting machine. They keep it flat, which is going to help with the feeding in and out of the machine. I will have more information once I have one and can actually test it. I am one of the original testers on the Cameo 4 Pro. So I have hundreds, maybe thousands of hours on that machine. I really put it through its paces and I can get it to do what I want, but it does need the proper setup. Same is going to come into the Cameo Pro Mark II. Here's a look on the backside. It is that Cameo 4 body. So it has the manual crosscut on the back. Yes, thank you. It also has the auto crosscut, which I will also link into the description below. It has the auto crosscut that you can set up on the front, but I prefer that smooth cut on the back side if I'm working with a long piece of vinyl. You can see we'll cover the stand here in just a second. So there's another look. This is on the new stand that will be coming out. So I am going to switch over here to the stand. Let's see if there's any questions. Just, oh, wow, cool. That's awesome. Great. Okay, one more section here. We'll get this switched over. Share screen. Some of these photos will look very similar, but they are different. So different angles. So here's a look at the stand. Of course, the Cameo Pro Mark II is on top of it. Other Silhouette model machines will fit on top of it. The Cameo Pro Mark II is the only one that will actually screw to the bottom. So it will securely, it has 2 holes. It will screw into the bottom. So it is secure on the stand. You know, that comes into play when you're moving it around. This stand does have wheels. You can see me roll it around, spin it in the videos that I have linked below. It has 2 baskets, one on the front, one on the back to catch your vinyl so it doesn't fall on the floor and get dirty. They are designed out of anti-static material. If you have worked with adhesive vinyl in the past or other materials, they can create a static electricity, which can affect electronic machines, but it can affect the feed of the vinyl in there because that static builds up. It affects the feed and it can sometimes affect the cut as well. All of it affects the cut. As J5, is it compatible with the A3 sheet feeder? As far as I know, yes, it has the same capabilities. I did not look at it, but I believe it is. I will follow up on that. It has all the same capabilities of the Cameo 4 Pro, but it is improved on. Cameo 5, compatible. Let me know in the comments below, those who are still watching. We're slowly declining because it's been a long live. How many have the auto sheet feeder? Compatible auto sheet feeder. Okay, I'll try to remember to ask about that to verify. So we have the 2 bags. You also have 2 rollers, not really rollers, but bars here. Your vinyl sits in between, and we'll see a photo here in a bit. There's a way you can have your vinyl sit below it. Or you can have it on this roll. I believe those came off. They never showed it on there because they didn't use that one. They used it on the bottom. This one here, you can't see my ping. This one is removed when you add the mat support onto the front. The design of it, Marlene asked, is the stand metal or plastic apart from the baskets? Metal, both. Both. The stand, the sides here, I really liked it. It is a metal. These parts here are a lighter metal pieces. These were metal. It's not heavy metal. The heaviest part that I would say would be these edges here, which is kind of like tubing, a metal tubing. Seemed very, very secure, but you're also going to have these plastic pieces. So up here on the top and the sides, I would say, I can't remember what the side was made out of. We might get a better look, but I know this is plastic here. And your top's going to be plastic. So all of that is designed. If you had a full, complete metal stand, you're going to outprice yourself in shipping alone. That's just how it is in this consumer market. Here's a look from the back side. That's a little bit closer up look. So you have those bars in the middle. For your roll, you're going to have to test it. What they said was you place your roll down here, which we'll see here in just a bit, just a few minutes. Place your roll in between these two rollers here. So you're working with a bulk roll is what you're working with. 24-inch bulk roll. And then when you go and feed it into the machine, you want to roll out the material for the length that you are cutting. You do not want it with any machine. There, you can cause problems. I'll get to that in just a second, Sarah. You want to pull out enough from the roll so the machine is not pulling against gravity. Or pulling against a bulk roll. Bulk rolls are heavy. And for a machine to try, especially coming up from underneath, I'd question the design of it, but it's not my call. So I'm going to work with what I got. I'll make it work. I can. I am confident that I can. I did it with the Cameo 4 Pro. I'm sure I can do it with this and this stand eventually, one day when I have them. On the back side, you also have these two supports that swing out from the back. This is as adjustable as it gets. They do not go out, extend any farther, but they are designed to help support your 24-inch cutting mat. It's best to have your 24-inch cutting mat. Again, the machines are not designed to work against gravity. So if you have your 24-inch cutting mat or you're trying to pull from a bulk roll of vinyl, that is weight. We don't see it, but gravity affects this. 24-inch cutting mat hanging down on either side is going to be weight hanging down, and that affects how your rollers, which are up here, feed. So, the setup of any machine is very important. Here's a look at that bulk roll they were cutting. They did cut a long design in the class right in front of us. They even offered for me to bring it home, but I didn't need something that said sweet candy or something like that and getting it home without getting it damaged. I did check, however, if it cut or not. And it did cut. I was able to, peel it back from the backing. They were using a roll of vinyl that I'm not material or brand I'm not familiar with. I asked and they said it was out of Japan. So it's going to work like your Cameo 5. Test your cut settings. That is one of the biggest things that you can do to save yourself time and frustration. So you can see here this long length. They have it rolled out. It is hanging down in the basket, so it's not going to get dirty. Hanging down in the basket. And as it's being cut, it has this flexibility. It has the vinyl out so it can move and not pull on that bulk roll. Here's another look at it. This is a different machine. So they had 4 machines all doing the same thing in our demo room. There was 3 tables with people around them, and then there was a table up front. So here is a look. They just have this draped over the front of the first bar, and it is in the bottom roll holder under here. So a look at it cutting. Here's a closer look at the roll underneath. So it's just set on the rollers that move freely, the bars that are rollers down there. And then it has slack in that, so it's not pulling. You can see here, this is quite a thick roll. So that is a lot of weight to pull off of. It's one of the biggest things I see with Cameo Pro users. There's another look from a different angle. Okay, well, 2 hours and 23 minutes. That's a long live. I don't know how I have done it. This is just my, 3rd live. I did not expect it to go that long, but I had very specific information that I wanted to cover. So I wanted to give you, anybody who's watching, I will go through and put back chapters. Although if you're watching on replay by now, you would hope that I'd had chapters. Any questions? I will leave it open for just a few more minutes. I want to thank everybody who did join, no matter how long you joined for and watched this whole thing. It took longer than I expected, but I wanted to put it all out there from a perspective of myself. Sarah said something. What was it? How long does it take to build a stand? I laughed at that. I said I'd come back to it. We asked how long. The person who built it did not understand our question. The translation was off a little bit the first time we asked. But I think we finally got the answer. And really, ideally, you want two people to put it together. It's a 24-inch stand. I mean, it's to house a machine that cuts 24 inches. So it's big. So ideally, I would say you would want two people to make it easier. And then at least 30 minutes. But for most users, that's probably going to be like an hour, unless you are really great at constructing things. But I made a joke about that. It's kind of like IKEA furniture. So they are currently no ship date that they know of. They are trying to figure out the packaging to make it the least shipping cost as possible. So they're trying to fit all those pieces into the box in a jigsaw puzzle to make the shipping costs low for everyone. So all of the products that I've talked about, they do hope that at least some of them are out by Christmas. Some of them are probably going to be pushed out into early 2025. And we'll see, again, different departments. So product development is different than software development. But they have a harmonious relationship in that they have to both work together to function, all of it. So I'm not seeing any questions, but if you do think of them, I always think of questions later. Once the video is done processing and it comes up, it takes a while for the comments to generate for those who are watching, but they will be there if I did it right. And you can leave comments in the description, under the description below. Make sure to check out the description because I do have links and I will be adding more links for information that were discussed or questions that were answered. So with that, thank you everyone who has joined me and listened to that information. I hope it's given you a little bit inside look into what is at Silhouette Summit and the photos and the information that I gathered there. Have a great night. Have a great week. We will chat soon. Thanks.